Neil Leslie Diamond is an American singer-songwriter. He has sold more than 130 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling musicians of all time. He has had 10 No. 1 singles on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 and Adult Contemporary charts: Cracklin' Rosie, Song Sung Blue, Longfellow Serenade, I've Been This Way Before, If You Know What I Mean, Desiree, You Don't Bring Me Flowers, America, Yesterday's Songs, and Heart Light. 38 songs by Diamond have reached the top 10 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary charts, including Sweet Caroline. He has also acted in films, making his screen debut in the 1980 musical drama film The Jazz Singer. Diamond was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1984 and into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2011, and he received the Sammy Cahn Lifetime Achievement Award in 2000. In 2011, he was an honoree at the Kennedy Center Honors, and he received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2018. Diamond was born in Brooklyn, New York City, to a Jewish family. All four of his grandparents were immigrants, from Poland on his father's side and Russia on his mother's. His parents were Rose and Akiva Keefe Diamond, 1917 to 1985, a dry goods merchant. He grew up in several homes in Brooklyn, having also spent 4 years in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where his father was stationed in the Army. In Brooklyn, he attended Erasmus Hall High School and was a member of the freshman chorus and choral club, along with classmate Barbra Streisand. Diamond recalled they were not close friends at the time. We were two poor kids in Brooklyn. We hung out in the front of Erasmus High and smoked cigarettes. Also in their class was chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer. After his family moved to Brighton Beach, he attended Abraham Lincoln High School and was a member of the fencing team. Also on the team was his best friend, future Olympic fencer Herb Cohen. For his 16th birthday, he received his first guitar. When he was 16 and still in high school, Diamond spent a number of weeks at Surprise Light Camp, a camp for Jewish children in upstate New York, when folk singer Pete Seeger performed a small concert. Seeing the widely recognized singer perform, and watching other children singing songs for Seeger that they wrote themselves, had an immediate effect on Diamond, who then became aware of the possibility of writing his own songs. And the next thing, I got a guitar when we got back to Brooklyn, started to take lessons and almost immediately began to write songs, he said. He added that his attraction to songwriting was the first real interest he had growing up, while also helping him release his youthful frustrations. Diamond also used his newly developed skill to write poetry. By writing poems for girls he was attracted to in school, he soon learned it often won their hearts. His male classmates took note and began asking him to write poems for them, which they would sing and use with equal success. He spent the summer after graduation working as a waiter in the Catskills resort area. There he first met Jay Posner, who would years later become his wife. Diamond next attended New York University as a pre-med major on a fencing scholarship, again on the fencing team with Herb Cohen. He was a member of the 1960 NCAA Men's Championship fencing team. Often bored in class, he found writing song lyrics more to his liking. He began cutting classes and taking the train up to Tin Pan Alley, where he tried to get some of his songs heard by local music publishers. In his senior year, when he was just 10 units short of graduation, Sunbeam Music Publishing offered him a 16-week job writing songs for $50 a week, and he dropped out of college to accept it. Diamond was not rehired after his 16 weeks with Sunbeam, and he began writing and singing his own songs for demos. I never really chose songwriting, he says. It just absorbed me and became more and more important in my life. His first recording contract was billed as Neil and Jack, an Everly Brothers type duet with high school friend Jack Packer. They recorded the unsuccessful singles You Are My Love at Last with What Will I Do and I'm Afraid with Till You've Tried Love, both records released in 1962. Cashbox and Billboard magazines gave all four sides positive reviews, and Diamond signed with Columbia Records as a solo performer later in 1962. In July 1963, Columbia released the single Clown Town at Night. Billboard gave a laudatory review to Clown Town, and Cashbox was complimentary to both sides, but it still failed to make the charts. Columbia dropped him from their label and he went back to writing songs in and out of publishing houses for the next 7 years. He wrote wherever he could, including on buses, and used an upright piano above the Birdland Club in New York City. One of the causes of this early nomadic life as a songwriter was his song's wordiness. I'd spent a lot of time on lyrics, and they were looking for hooks. And I didn't really understand the nature of that, he says. He was able to sell only about one song a week during those years, barely enough to survive. He found himself only earning enough to spend 35 cents a day on food, but the privacy that he had above the Birdland Club allowed him to focus on writing without distractions. Something new began to happen. I wasn't under the gun, and suddenly interesting songs began to happen, songs that had things none of the others did. Among them were Cherry and Solitary Man. Solitary Man was the first record that Diamond recorded under his own name, which made the charts. It remains one of his personal favorites, as it was about his early years as a songwriter, even though he failed to realize it at the time. He describes the song as an outgrowth of my despair. Diamond spent his early career in the Brill Building. His first success as a songwriter came in November 1965 with Sunday in Me, a top 20 hit for Jay and the Americans. Greater success followed with I'm a Believer, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow, and Love to Love, all performed by the Monkees. He wrote and recorded the songs for himself, but the other versions were released before his own. The unintended consequence was that Diamond began to gain fame as a songwriter. I'm a Believer became a gold record within 2 days of its release and stayed at the top of the charts for 7 weeks, making it the Popular Music Song of the Year in 1966. And The Grass Won't Pay No Mind brought covers from Elvis Presley, who also interpreted Sweet Caroline, and Mark Lindsay, former lead singer for Paul Revere and the Raiders. Other notable artists who recorded his early songs were Lulu, Cliff Richard and the English hard rock band Deep Purple. In 1966, Diamond signed a deal with Burt Burns' Bang Records, then a subsidiary of Atlantic. His first release on that label was Solitary Man, which was his first true hit as a solo artist. Diamond followed with Cherry and Kentucky Woman. His early concerts featured him opening for bands such as Herman's Hermits and The Who. As a guest performer with The Who, he was shocked to see Pete Townsend swinging his guitar like a club and then throwing it against walls and off the stage until the instrument's neck broke. Diamond began to feel restricted by Bang Records because he wanted to record more ambitious, introspective music, such as Brooklyn Roads, starting in 1968. Burns wanted to release Kentucky Woman as a single, but Diamond was no longer satisfied writing simple pop songs, so he proposed Shiloh, which was not about the Civil War but rather an imaginary childhood friend. Bang believed that the song was not commercial enough, so it was relegated to being an LP track on Just For You. Diamond was also dissatisfied with his royalties and tried to sign with another record label after discovering a loophole in his contract that did not bind him exclusively to either Web4 or Talleyrand, but the result was a series of lawsuits that coincided with a slump in his record sales and professional success. A magistrate refused Web4's request for a temporary injunction to prevent Diamond from joining another record company while his contract dispute continued in court, but the lawsuits persisted until February 1977, when he triumphed in court and purchased the rights to his Bangarra master tapes. Well, Neil Diamond is coming to terms with what he calls a hurricane of a life after his Parkinson's disease diagnosis. The legendary singer-songwriter announced he has Parkinson's, a disorder that affects the nervous system, in 2018, but he has now opened up about it taking time for him to accept the change in his health. Well guys, what are your thoughts? Do tell us. Thanks for watching.